Well, I think it's honestly one of the coolest parts of my story, definitely most challenging, maybe. The fact that he's chosen not to take away that injury. If I were maybe picking, it would be easy to say, yes, I wish I wasn't in pain all the time, or I wish, my legs didn't go numb randomly. But at the same time, I know that there's purpose behind it. I think I was 10 and one of my coaches said, you could go as far as you want in this. And I was like, wow, like I had no idea that was even an option, and then that's kind of when all those big dreams start forming in my brain.
Those dreams would lead McKinley to Rocky Top, accepting a scholarship to play for the University of Tennessee. But despite a solid start to her college career, she felt unsettled.
Honestly, I was having success, I guess, but it didn't really feel very successful. I think that it felt more like a burden because there's all this pressure on you to live up to these expectations that you have for yourself, that the coaches have for you. So success was almost like a breath of relief rather than any sort of happiness coming from it.
A knee injury near the end of her freshman campaign would only add to that burden.
I was able to come back my sophomore year and play that entire time, but I started having these really weird issues with my feet and my shins after my knee surgeries. I'd have these really sharp pains and cramping in my feet, and then eventually my legs would go numb. I saw a bunch of specialists, I did a bunch of testing. Nothing was really coming up clearly, I guess. They had a few ideas, but nothing that they could pinpoint, and all of their ideas had no solutions really. I was also hearing from like support staff and coaching staff that maybe this isn't for you, like playing at this level, maybe your body can't handle it. We can't do anything else for you. You just have to deal with it, but if you're not producing, you're not helpful, type of thing. So I just kind of was like, okay, why am I here then? I made the decision to medically retire. In my mind, soccer was done for me.
McKinley had built her identity around the sport, and not being able to compete left her searching for purpose.
I would say that year and a half, I really detached from my emotions, but also my friends, my family. I just really wanted to isolate myself because I thought, if I'm hurting, I don't want to hurt others. I wish I could say that I stayed faithful to the Lord and that I was unwavering in my faith because He is so good, even when my situations don't feel good. But honestly, I was angry and I was bitter. Eventually, I took it out on the Lord because my mindset was, you made me, like you put me in these situations. How could this be good? How could this be loving? And so it was really hard for me because obviously we're never going to be able to find a joy and a love outside of God. But I tried really hard for a long time and it just left me more broken and more sad. I got caught in that victim mentality for a little bit of, oh, why me? Like, I think it just felt like I couldn't catch a break, like nothing was going my way, all those self-pitying thoughts that we can so easily have. And then I thought, well, I could get a master's degree, and that's kind of when I started thinking like, okay, what other schools could I go to, and is it even a possibility after being out for a year and a half to even play soccer again? So I was kind of looking at soccer just in a hopeful way, but it was more so, okay, what programs are available at schools that I'm really interested in regardless of soccer? And that's where Liberty really stood out to me. I visited fairly soon after that, and I just fell in love with the girls and the atmosphere. I never felt so loved by people that I had no connection to.
McKinley would return to the game she loved, and it would help lead her back to her faith.
When I first got here, I felt like I was in the right place. I felt like I was following the Lord's will, but I hadn't fully taken ownership of my relationship with the Lord.
When McKinley really came into this program and saw how we ask our players to live that faith out day in and day out, it helped to rekindle that a little bit and ignite that flame in her.
It was the first time that I I saw other people valuing me for more than what I could just do for them. I saw them seeing me as a daughter of the King and a sister in Christ. Just having that overwhelming sense of love is something that I didn't even realize that I was craving so desperately.
Though her painful leg condition persists, McKinley battles through, guided by a new perspective.
It was this flipped switch almost of, okay, I have limitations, a lot of them, but how can I view these as gifts and privileges? Because in my weakness, Christ is strong.
Despite playing through pain, McKinley has a knack for finding the back of the net.
And here she is again. Burkett lines it up and scores.
But it may be off the pitch, where she's making her biggest contribution.
We feel for her because we know she's in pain pretty much all the time. Sometimes that gets a little bit too much, and sometimes she can manage it. But when the players, see just how she's pushing through that pain on a daily basis, it inspires them to push themselves a little harder as well.
I'm starting to be able to see it as an opportunity to witness to others or to pour into the girls around me. When I share my testimony, I always like to say, he's the God of the mountaintops, but he's also the God of the valleys. And even if that mountaintop experience doesn't come, he's still good, he is still faithful, and his way is better than our way.
She steps in and scores!
I think that he turned all those, in my mind, failures into opportunities to pursue him deeper. And so it would be crazy awesome to be on the national team and be a pro soccer player and get all of the accolades that come along with that and the attention, but it would have been more about me, and it needs to be a lot less about me. And so I think he saved me, honestly, from a lot of heartache, a lot of bitterness, and he's shown me that my value and my worth can be found eternally in him.